Hello everyone, this is ACHAIA Akaya, and we are still in round 2 of the SC2 Armory versus Vile Gaming matchup. Again, I do apologize how long it took me to get up round 2 from round 1. There was a lot of stuff going on, and this is my first chance to really get this going. But anyways, this matchup right here, just a quick note, if you have not watched the rest of the series, KillerPlague right here, the last remaining player for the Vile Gaming team. Basically, they were dominated in the first round by the SC2 Armory. But anyways, it looks like KillerPlague is going to be spawning as the light blue Protoss down in the bottom middle here. And in the mid left here, he is going to be facing off against Texmix, who is going to be the pink Protoss. So both players playing as Protoss. We're going to see some PvP mirror matchup right now. And it looks like this first map, once again, is going to be on Lost Temple. And Texmix saying all the people to say good luck don't mean it. Of course, insinuating that people really don't want to wish their opponents luck because they want to win. And he's saying, at least I'm honest. But anyways, getting into this game right now, Texmix actually is a very good player. He won the SC2 Armory tournament, the Wrath of the Xel'Naga tournament, which was a 1v1 tournament hosted on the SC2 Armory. He's a pretty good player. I've definitely seen a lot of very diverse play from him throughout the different games I've casted of him and games I've watched him play. So I definitely expect to see a pretty good game here. As we saw last game, KillerPlague was able to dispatch of VGvSC2A pretty easily, winning that matchup in a 2-0 set. So if you haven't seen those games, definitely check that out. You can get a little bit of a feel for how KillerPlague plays and exactly what his strategies are. And actually, just a quick note about that, he seems to like going for the one gateway into the into the Cybercore, then the Robo Bay before getting his second gateway. And then he usually went either 2 or 3 gateways with his robotics facility, and then would transfer into the robotics bay tech, which would allow him to get Colossi as well. So he did a gradual transition from Immortals in the mix with his gateway units into the Colossi build. So it looks like he is actually right now going for a very similar build. Got his first gateway out by his ramp, and then he is putting his Cybercore down near his Nexus right now. And then if we go back to the base of Texmix, it looks like he is actually going for a very, very similar build. So both players pretty much mirroring each other at this point. And you can see even their harvester count and their income rate right now is pretty much identical. Texmix just barely pulling ahead by 1 harvester right now. So a slight advantage there, but nothing significant at this point. And it looks like, actually, just looking at the unit count, he has caught up, although once again Texmix jumping ahead. Texmix does also have 1 Zealot out, and it looks like KillerPlague is researching the warp gate technology. So, but looking at the production overlay, we can see that Texmix is also researching that. But there is a stalker on the way for KillerPlague here as well. So both players are going very, very similar builds early on, but you can see slight variations as far as the units they decided to build early on. 1 stalker versus 1 sentry in the Zealot initially from Texmix and all that. So, but the first stalker is going to come out here in time to defend against this Zealot, and if this stalker is microed properly, it should have no problem dispatching this Zealot. But it looks like that Zealot is going to go back and just take off out of the base and just leave here right now. His shield's managing to get knocked out completely, but not losing any actual HP on the Zealot itself, as the Zealot for KillerPlague here comes out as well now. And it looks like the KillerPlague does have 1 scouting probe inside the base of Texmix still, although that probe taking some heavy damage from that sentry there for a second, down to only 10 HP. And it looks like there's a Twilight Council going down for Texmix at this point. So that could actually be a very, very big differentiation in the build orders between the two players here. As we can see, there are 2 gateways and a robotics facility now going down for KillerPlague, while in the base of Texmix, we see that he has a Twilight Council going down along with his second gateway just now starting. So the players are definitely now, we're starting to see some variation in their build orders. And it looks like he's actually putting down a 3rd gateway. And I'm curious to see if we'll actually see him throw down a 4th gateway maybe and try to do some kind of a 4-gate push. This is not typical timing for a 4-gate push, but as you can see, he is researching the Zealot leg upgrade right now. So we'll have to wait and see exactly what he tries to do. In the meantime, KillerPlague is pushing out across the map with 1 stalker, 1 sentry, and 3 zealots. So it looks like he is going to possibly be putting a little bit of pressure on the front door of Texmix, which Texmix right now is just barely behind in the unit count. Although it looks like KillerPlague is going to hold off and wait. I don't know if he's just waiting for this 4th zealot to come up and join the rest of his army, but anyways, it looks like Texmix will actually be able to hold this off without too much problems, although he is moving out right now. And because of the vision from that Zeldog watchtower, KillerPlague is easily going to be able to see that, and I'm not sure if he's going to try to sandwich here or if he's going to try to counterattack. It looks like he's opting for a counterattack, taking out the 2 zealots that were back at his base still very easily, and it looks like this force is going to move up in here and do some serious damage here if Texmix is not able to respond, and getting a great force field off there, able to buy himself some time to get out a few more units. And here is the 4th gateway now changing into a warp gate. The zealot leg research is almost finished, so it looks like Texmix will be in very good shape if he can hold on for just a few more seconds, throwing down that last force field there, trying to buy himself just a little bit more time so that he can keep himself in this game long enough to get that leg upgrade finished, which it is now finished. So going to be warping in some more zealots here very shortly, I would imagine, and these surrounding zealots with the charge are just going to absolutely dominate this KillerPlague army. And VGvSC2A apparently spectating this game says nice trap. So he definitely saw that coming and saw how nice of a play that was by Texmix. Texmix buying himself just enough time to get out those last few zealots and to finish that zealot leg upgrade. So and Texmix says that message was to all. So apparently VGvSC2A is not just a spectator, he is actually a referee, so he can talk to the players in the game. But anyways, it looks like Texmix is going to try to respond by pushing back on the entrance of KillerPlague, although even with the zealot charge upgrade, this ramp is very, very narrow. It's going to be very difficult for him to break up there, even with that zealot charge upgrade, because there are so many range units along with the zealots that are blocking off this choke primarily. So it looks like Texmix is going to have a hard time getting up that ramp, and as you can see, KillerPlague was able to defend that with very few casualties. They're only losing a handful of zealots, while it looks like Texmix actually lost the majority of his units. And actually Texmix very heavy on zealot count right now. You can see he has 11 zealots versus only 4 zealots for KillerPlague, 1 stalker and 4 immortals. I'm sorry, 1 mortal and 4 stalkers. Got that backwards there. But it looks like he is going to get us around on a few stalkers that got a little bit too far out on the map here using that charge ability. Oh, and some more stalkers and zealots coming around the back there, going to get surrounded by some reinforcements from Texmix. And Texmix is going to chase these remaining Protoss forces from KillerPlague back to his base. And there are a lot of zealots here from Texmix, and KillerPlague trying to respond by building his own zealots, although he does not have the zealot charge upgrade research, as you can see here. But with that many zealots blocking off his ramp, he should be able to use the combined fire of his range units to hold that off, and now Colossi are coming out on the map, so it is going to be even that much more difficult for Texmix to break up the ramp of KillerPlague, although you can see Texmix has decided to throw down his expansion. So if he can keep KillerPlague turtled into his base for long enough to solidly take that expansion and get that economic advantage, then he will be in very, very good shape here. And you can see he does have 1 zealot scouting out across the map to make sure there are no hidden expansions for KillerPlague, and 1 observer coming out here for Texmix as well. So he is also going to do some scouting, see exactly what is going on, and it looks like another I'm sorry, what is that thing called? A Colossus. Wow, huge brain fart there. But another Colossus coming out just now for KillerPlague. So he has a very sizable army, whereas looking at the army for Texmix, he does have a huge amount of zealots, although at this point it looks like the zealot count has been narrowed down by KillerPlague. He has only 1 less zealot than Texmix, and he does have the 2 Colossi to go along with those zealots, as well as a handful of stalkers. And basically right now only sentries and zealots, and it looks like there's going to be a very large battle here going down. These Colossi, for some reason, focusing on the pylons on the cliff rather than focusing on these zealots. These zealots would be in a lot of trouble if he were to actually focus on those with this Colossi. But nonetheless, it looks like KillerPlague is not going to have any problems cleaning up the rest of that zealot army. And it looks like in the unit count right now, Texmix is vastly outnumbered, and with still only 4 gateways, he's got 1 immortal coming in right now, but with still only 4 gateways, I don't think he's going to be able to produce enough units to hold this off before he is overrun one. So we'll have to see if he can actually handle this. He did lose his expansion already, so he has invested a lot of money in that expansion that has just gone down the drain, losing also 2 assimilators worth of minerals. And he did have a cannon warping in up here. I'm not sure if he was able to cancel that in time or not, but it looks like those Colossi are going to push right up onto the high ground here. And this one Immortal trying to get in the mix here, but there are just too many units, and they managed to take that Immortal down without any problems. Another Immortal coming in here trying to help the Stalker out, but the Stalker goes down before it's able to do anything. And Texmix is going to GG, so this first game going to KillerPlague. KillerPlague proving himself to be a very formidable opponent in this matchup. So we're going to move on to game 2 right now.